Welcome back. So Liz Truss has held her first face-to-face talks with Maros Sefcovic since she took up the role from Lord Frost. It was a bit frosty when Sefcovic arrived, however, as he slipped on the ice when greeting the UK's Foreign Secretary at her government residence at Chevening. The Northern Ireland Protocol was at the centre of the talks, of course, and Liz Truss, we're told, is prepared to be, quote, pragmatic and constructive in finding solutions to the long-running impasse. Sources close to her have played down the comments made last week that she would be prepared to invoke Article 16 if a deal could not be reached. They said that although government policy had not changed in that regard, it was not Truss's focus and she wanted to develop a close relationship with Maros Sefcovic. So joining me now to discuss this is Dougie Beattie, our GBNews Northern Ireland reporter. Dougie, you and I have spoke about this on many occasions. It feels like deja vu all over again. But this is the first time we've had a joint statement after the talks since way back in February of last year when Michael Gove was the lead. And then, of course, when David Frost came in, things slightly changed. Are we to read much into the fact that we've had a joint statement today?
Well, I think it's probably because it's the first meeting. The EU and the UK have been sent off to do their own homework again, and it's very much in and around consent. And of course that is right at the heart of the Good Friday Agreement, and it is the sticking point for unionists, because unionists of course don't have any MEPs, so therefore if the European Courts of Justice have to rule over divergence in Northern Ireland, there's not much sense in having the Northern Ireland Assembly, because it just becomes a regional council. And of course Sinn Féin and the SDLP sister party, Fianna Fáil, both have MEPs, so they can have control over those laws. Sefcovic, I think, is probably thinking that he might have a different push here altogether, because Liz Truss, of course, will be in the running for that main job, if it comes up at all, of Boris Johnson's, and she will be looking to play a harder game. And I often wonder, you know, she'll be aware that other people that have fallen on the protocol and on Brexit, and they have fallen because they've been trying to appease the EU. And I often wonder, well, if Liz Truss turns around and says to them, well, do you know what, it's to protect your single market, the integrity of, and if you want to protect the Good Friday Agreement and don't want to put a border in Northern Ireland, well, check the goods going into the EU from Ireland. I think there may be a few pragmatic solutions coming up, and I think that's maybe where Liz Truss is starting to head with this.
Well, certainly she's been engaging all week with, first of all, businesses, and they have said that they feel that there's a degree of urgency now again, although we've heard that many times, Dougie, haven't we? And of course she met with Sir Geoffrey Donaldson, the leader of the Democratic Unionist Party, and with the leadership of Sinn Féin as well, each taking a different take from the meeting, as we would expect. However, the Secretary of State for Northern Ireland said after all of the engagement that the government was not going to set arbitrary deadlines. But surely this has to come to an end soon, Dougie.
Well, it does for business, for agriculture, and most of all politically. For the first time in the streets in Northern Ireland in 20 years, there was riots over nationality. I mean, that argument was settled in 1998 under consent, and it raises its head. I noticed the manufacturers survey out today. They are not too bad with the protocol, but we have always said that they quite like the protocol because it gives them access to two markets. But that's only as long as the supply lines to those manufacturers don't jam up. And of course, we're now only coming to the end of the grace period, so we'll only start to see the real hard effects of the protocol coming into place. And I think that with the election looming in Stormont in May, that if there's not something settled very quickly, you may well see unionists not engaging in those elections at all, and that will bring down the government of Northern Ireland.
So if you were a betting man, Dougie, would you say it's more likely than not that we'll see Article 16 in the near future, or will we just see some sort of a fudge?
Well, I think Article 16 in itself is maybe a bit of a fudge, because Article 16 gets fired, everything goes back to preset, and they go into 2 months of talks. So I think Liz Truss, if I had to put money on it, I'd say she sent both sides back with their homework to do. And then if nothing comes out of that, I think she'll either walk away from those talks or at that point fire Article 16. And I think that could well help the Unionists in an election in Northern Ireland come May, but I don't think it'll do much for Europe itself. I think the only way she's going to get anything out of this is to say to Europe, it's to protect the integrity of your single market, so you need to sort out your own problems. And I think that will probably get more from it than anything else.
Dougie, thanks for joining us from Newton Ards today.